Hey everybody, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I have a new layout for the Hip Kit Club to share, and I'm using the 2016 July kits. And this was my first idea for a design for this page, was to create a fun little grid. And I'm going to be scrapping these two pictures of my daughter in the pool. And as you can see, there are lots of shades of blues and pinks in these pictures. And so I went through my kits and picked out several things that had coordinating colors, mostly blues and pinks, and I really wanted to use some of these small circle acrylic pieces, and they're just so cute, and I think of confetti when I see them, and so I'm going to use some of those on my page. I'm going to use some of the fancy free pink paisley wood veneer, some of these exclusive Project Life cards, and little frames and die cuts and things. So I wanted a really big title, and I've done this before, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. My title is going to be Bright Sunshiny Day, and so I went to my Silhouette software and created this word, and the font is called Aliana. Aliana, it's Alleana, and I just welded the word together and cut it really big in the center of this white cardstock. And it's going to affect where my pictures go because obviously I can't move the title, and so it's going to change my grid idea, and that's okay. Half the time my layouts take a completely different turn than what I had originally planned in the beginning, and that's okay. So I'm going to use this Project Life card that Kim Watson designed. She designed all the Project Life cards this month, as well as a lot of the papers and embellishments. And I'm going to just use that as a little layering piece. It kind of looks like I did some painting there, but haven't done that yet. And I'm going to play around with some of the placement of things and just try to figure out where I want everything to go. Now, I did want to use this month's exclusive stencil on my page, but I didn't want to put it directly on the cardstock that I've already created my title on, and so I just grabbed a piece of paper that's another white cardstock that I've used to create a cut file, and I went through and just picked out 3 coordinating colors of shimmers that we've gotten in past color kits: the Jenny B Blue, the Pink Stilettos, and the Mandarin Mai Tai. And I just created 3 little strips here, and I don't want to waste that extra spray on the stencil, so I grabbed a piece of craft cardstock, flipped it over, and used it kind of like a stamp, and I absolutely love how this turned out. The colors, the way they blended, it looks so pretty, and I definitely want to use this as a background on a future page. So I'll come back and show you that when it's dry and show you how pretty that looks. So I'm going to dry off my stencil, get that out of the way, and then I'm going to just fussy cut out these strips. And I'm mainly going to use these as little layering pieces just to create a little bit of interest. I don't use a whole lot of pattern paper on this layout. I use the piece to back the open spots where I cut my title, and then I do fussy cut a flower later. And I'm sorry if my voice is scratchy. It's early in the morning, and I'm still trying to wake up. So you're the first people that I've talked to today, so this is why I sound scratchy. Anyway, so I'm going to come back with these little strips, and again, I just wanted to create something that was subtle but gave a little bit of interest, and I'm just playing around here. I do wind up cutting those so they're straight and not at that diagonal angle, but I just wanted something extra to tuck under the pictures here and there. And my pictures are going to be at angles because I want this to be kind of, not super lined up and super neat. Okay, so I do want to do a little bit of inking on my background, and I don't go super crazy here because I'm going to have a lot of embellishments and things. Excuse me. So I grabbed the Jenny B Blue and do a little bit of the packaging technique, and I just wanted to kind of peek out from behind the pictures because I know I've said this before, but whenever I do a layout about pool pictures, I always like to have something that resembles the water splashing on my page, and this shimmer's color is my favorite color to use for that because to me it always matches perfectly. I am going to add a couple of splatters of the Don't Citron Me colorings, and that's from this month's color kit, and it's a really pretty bright electric lime green. And I really don't want any green on this layout, but I wanted to just jazz up the color there, and it just adds a little bit of extra layer and interest of color. And it doesn't really look green once you mix it in with the blue. And this is another shimmers that came in, I can't remember. It's been in a past color kit within the past few months. And this one is Oh Say Can You See? And it's more of a teal color. All right, so I'm going to come back now and play around with where I want my pictures and all my little layers of things that I've already picked out. And I'm definitely going to use that big pink and wood button that's from the Fancy Free collection. So I'm going to decide where I want the cut file to go on top of that beautiful ombre paper. And I'm going to go ahead and add my glue and stick it down. And I love how that looks. I love the ombre, how it goes from that really light orange color all the way to the darker pink. And I am going to add in the open spots of the S's. I think it just finishes off the S's. Now, I don't want to waste any of that paper that I don't want to leave all that back there because it's so pretty and I can use that for something else. And so I'm going to cut the rest off. Look how pretty that turned out. It dried. I love how that looks. I'm definitely going to use that on another layout. I'm very pleased with that. So that's something else you can do with your stencil is spray some ink on it, flip it over, and stamp it. So you never know what kind of look you're going to get. Just don't waste ink. Always use the excess ink and stamp it on something or wipe it on something else, because sometimes that is when you create a really cool shape for a background, even when you're not even thinking about it. So you can see there how I've scattered around some of those little acrylic circles, and that's kind of the look I was going for. I mean, I'm going to stick them down later as the video goes, but I'm just kind of playing around here. Nothing is permanent at this point. Now, I don't know if you've played with these yet, but these are the washi tape strips in the kits this month. And again, they're exclusive. They match the papers perfectly. And they are the neatest consistency. They're not like regular washi tape. They're almost slick, and you can't really tear them. You have to cut them, and I think they're super neat. I wish we had a couple of pages of these because it's unlike any tape that I've ever used before. And I just wanted to cut that one in half that matches that ombre paper and kind of use half of it at the top, half of it at the bottom, just for a little extra something. And I like the pop of the orange and yellow that it gives at the top. And I know I say orange, but it's a very faint, almost sunset yellow type orange, if that's even a color. So again, a lot of this layout is just me going back and forth, trying to figure out where I want things to go. And I know I have certain pieces that I want to use. I want to use that rectangle love pink chipboard piece. I really want to use that noted arrow and a fussy cut out that really adorable camera from a Project Life card. So I had the idea of stitching. I did hand stitching on a layout not too long ago around my title. I just took one of my thumbtacks. I'm going to go around this entire word and just freehand it here. I'm just going to stick holes in the paper all around the word. As you can see there, that part's done. And then I went through my big stash of embroidery thread and I picked out 4 colors. I've got basically the colors that match the colors in the Sunshiny word. I've got the that orangey color and then a little bit lighter shade of that, and then the pink and then the darker pink. And I'm just going to take some time. I don't do all this on camera because if you've ever hand stitched something like this, then you know it takes a long time to do it. And so I just do a little bit here, and I'm just doing a simple back stitch, and I'm going to go around the entire word. And I love how it turns out. This is definitely something that takes time and patience, but I think the end result is always worth it because it just looks so homemade and so different, and the texture is amazing. And it's hard to tell that I did use 4 different colors there, but I think you'll be able to see it better in the close-ups at the end. So now I'm going to come back again and rearrange everything because I want to make sure that I'm, 100% positive of where I want things to go before I start sticking things down. And sometimes if I know for sure this is where this is going to go, I will use my glue. But if I'm hesitant and may want to move it, I'll use my ATG gun because that's easier to pull up. So I'm going to add some tissue paper behind my pictures just for some added detail and to give them a little bit of a border, but it's very subtle. since I do have a lot of things going on, or I will by the time I start sticking everything down, I didn't want to add any more pattern paper behind them because I didn't want it to get too busy. I know I've said this before, I always want my focal point to be the photos, and with this big title in the middle, I didn't want anything else to distract from the pictures. So I'm going to come in with some thread. I've got some light pink, some light blue, and then I'm going to come in with some hot pink for the top area. And I'm using mostly light colors at the bottom since I do have the bold blue and then the bold pink in that button and in that strip of washi tape. I didn't want to go too bold and dark, but at the top I don't have a lot of that darker pink, and so I'm going to use the darker pink thread up there. I'm just trying to even out because the top is going to look totally different than the bottom, and I mainly just want all the colors represented in both areas. I do want to add a little bit underneath that big heart, and so I come back in with a light pink, and you can see it's very subtle. It's not something that's going to stand out and take away from the heart. It's just going to add a little bit of subtle, how many times can I say subtle? Subtle texture and color. And that little strip says Frolic in the Sunshine, and I just had to use it. It was perfect. And I'm going to come in with some of these rub-ons here shortly, but I wanted to go ahead and get my title in place so I knew where it was going to be. And I am in love with these gold thickers. They're foam and they are chunky gold glitter, and I've had these before, but sometimes you use them a few times and then you forget. I love them. They're the perfect size, the perfect font, the perfect glitter factor, and they stick really well. Love them. All right, so my title's done. So now I can work around that, and I really love these rub-ons, but some of them were already stuck to the backing sheet. So a lot of them were already ruined right when I first opened them, and I couldn't use a lot of them because it's almost like they were rubbed on to the backing sheet and they were already peeled off. And once you use a rub-on, once it's peeled off, it's done. So I'm just going to use the word hello above bright and then a couple of arrows just here and there. And I like the difference between the rub-on up next to the glitter thicker because they're both gold, but they're totally different. You've got the subtle gold that's a little metallic versus the bright glittery gold. I just think it looks neat together. So this is the paper I'm going to fussy cut one lonely little flower out of, and I definitely want to cut the rest of those flowers out because they just are so pretty, and I cannot just leave them on that paper. I really want to cut those out, and I'm just going to use it for a little layering piece up at the top. I like how that looks. It just looks like a little bit of watercolor is coming out from behind the picture because this really isn't a floral type layout, and so I didn't want a bunch of flowers on this particular one. I added that chipboard cloud over to the right, and then I'm going to come in and start gluing everything down. I'm going to glue down those cute little confetti dots, and they're subtle. I know, there's that word again, subtle. I'm also going to use that camera flare button that says snap. I love the cameras this month. We're all begging Kim Watson to please make more of those cameras or make it into a pattern paper or a stamp, because they are just super cute. I love the watercolor effect on them. I'm going to add a little bit of twine into the center of that big wood veneer button. And I think it's getting close. I really wanted to use that noted acrylic piece, but the more I went, the more I just couldn't really find the right spot for it. I'm going to come in with some gold color shine. I've been neglecting my color shine lately, and so the gold was perfect. And I also added that heart. No, that's not a heart. That's an arrow down at the bottom. It was the perfect little area for that arrow from Pink Paisley. And there's the final page. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was super fun to make. I love the colors. I always wind up loving the colors whenever I make a pool layout. Just the blues and the pinks are always my favorite. And I tend to go for those a lot. So let me know if you have any questions about any of these, the techniques, the kits, anything. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.